Henry Hong, Director of Food and Beverage, coming to you from my humble kitchen this time. Wanted to talk today about Bloody Marys, one of my favorite drinks. So one of the reasons why I call my Bloody Mary recipe the airline Bloody Mary recipe, I distinctly remember when I was a kid, we would fly to Korea at least once a year for many years, and my dad would make himself essentially a Bloody Mary kit, which you can buy now. There's websites out there that sell these Bloody Mary kits that come in these, custom tins and things. But if you think about what you can get on an airplane, what you could get on an airplane, it would be, a mini of vodka or any other spirit, can of tomato juice, little tiny bottle of Tabasco sauce, little tiny bottle of Worcestershire, if you're lucky, and then of course salt and pepper. So I remember him making these cocktails. It was a 17-hour nonstop flight from JFK to Seoul, and he would have it all laid out on his tray table and craft these cocktails basically with these ingredients that you could find on these international flights. So in addition to the fact that these ingredients were available on an airplane, one of the effects of a pressurized environment is that it deadens your sense of taste, which is one of the reasons why airplane food tastes so bad. So something like tomato juice, which has a lot of salt, intense umami, tends to taste good. In any case, if you look back to the history of the Bloody Mary and its origins, very, very muddled. Like with so many other cocktails, many people claim to have invented it, but a lot of sources agree that it probably originated sometime in the 1920s in Paris, in an expatriate American bar called Harry's New York Bar. And apparently at that time, canned tomato juice was just becoming available. So that was one thing. At that particular bar in France, a lot of expatriates from Russia were also frequenting that bar, so they were bringing vodka with them. Vodka is sort of unique and sometimes derided, especially by culinary types, because the goal of vodka is to not taste like anything. So it proved to be a challenge to mix a decent cocktail with something that was striving to not have any flavor. Fernand Petiot, who is widely credited with inventing this cocktail called the Bloody Mary, decided to mix tomato juice with vodka, and it became a cocktail. Eventually, this was early 1920s. Prohibition was still in effect in the US. He eventually moved to New York to the St. Regis Hotel, the King Cole Bar, which is still open, by the way. You can still get his original recipe, supposedly. And he decided to dress it up for his American patrons by adding some seasonings to it. A little bit of salt, pepper, cayenne, Worcestershire, and lemon juice for acidity. I will post the original King Cole Bar recipe along with this video. So Bloody Mary is a classic cocktail. Fernand Petiot's recipe, reputedly the original one from King Cole Bar at the St. Regis Hotel in New York. We're going to start with our mixer again, and then we will combine the ingredients. It's a very, very easy recipe. It's actually equal parts vodka and tomato juice. Again, in this case, we're going to use our Very Veggie. So we'll add 2 ounces, 2 count on the vodka, 1, 2, whoa, it's coming up fast. Then we're looking at a little bit of Worcestershire. It says half a teaspoon, but maybe a glug or 2. Something that is often omitted, not included in the original recipe, but it is included in many of the older recipes of Bloody Mary. Just a couple of dashes of bitters, tiny dashes. And then the dry spices, 1 pinch of cayenne, 1 pinch of salt. In fact, because this is a low sodium juice, I'll add a few more pinches of salt. A little bit of lemon juice. Just a bit. You can add more if we need it later. Then a little black pepper. We'll add some ice. Stir. Put it into our glass. And then you can see here I have a jar of some homemade pickles. It's in an old salsa jar. But one of the best Bloody Marys that I ever had in my life was in New Orleans at Stanley Restaurant. And apparently in New Orleans, the garnish of choice, in addition to celery, I think celery is probably just a nod to tradition. Side note, celery was first served as a garnish on a Bloody Mary at a bar in Chicago in the 60s, so fairly recent mention. But in New Orleans, they like pickled green beans, haricot vert to be specific. Haricot vert, they're a little bit thinner, usually a little bit straighter. This one's kind of curvy, but throw that in there. The New Orleans style is also similarly, put this down, you can see it's a little more transparent, not quite the thick sort of vegetable smoothie type texture that we might be used to. The King Cole bar / Harry's New York bar style Bloody Mary, courtesy of Ferdinand Petiot. Much more balanced cocktail, of course, not as much flavor going on, but actually surprisingly complex given the small number of ingredients that we added, as opposed to, again, if you go to a bar and you can just look, it's an opaque mix with, who knows how many dozens of ingredients to get their mix the way they like it. Just even though it's a little bit more a little bit thicker because of the consistency of most tomato juices and vegetable juices. Very nice, refreshing cocktail. A little more bang for the buck because it is equal parts juice to vodka, as opposed to a very tall glass with a little bit of vodka and a lot of mix. And there you have it. Again, I will post these recipes and hope you enjoy them. And we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you very much.